welcome back. My name is Seturaman, and today this is day 8 of our 10 days of base. Oh my god, we covered a week. So, I mean, by now, like you guys have built wallets that sponsor gas fee, apps that handle money without passwords, payment flows that feel like, modern day crypto UX miracles. I mean, your applications are getting pretty sophisticated at this point. I mean, it can do more than most banks, and it's smarter than your average fintech startup. And honestly, it's kind of showing off at this point. But here's the thing. I mean, it still can't have conversations. And in 2025, if your applications can't have conversations, I don't know what they're doing, right? Like, look, like we are living in a world where people are having like philosophical debates with ChatGPT at 2 a.m. They are ordering pizza by yelling at their fridge and getting relationship advice from bots that are more emotionally available than most humans. I mean, your grandma is probably asking Alexa about the weather, right? I mean, the random app on your mobile, it's got a chatbot. Your banking app has a chatbot. That sketchy website selling, all those questionable supplements, it definitely has a chatbot. And it's probably more conversational than your, brilliant blockchain masterpiece that you've been building. So, I mean, your application at this point can execute complex on-chain transactions, maybe manage sophisticated spending permissions, and handle financial operations and all that. But can it answer a simple question like, "Hey, what's my balance?" without making the user click through, I don't know, 17 different screens? Can it help somebody split a dinner bill without them needing a PhD in user interface design? No, I mean, it just sits there waiting for your clicks, right? So today we are actually fixing that. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to teach your app how to communicate using something called as XMTP, right? And we are trying to give it an actual brain with Coinbase's AgentKit. So we're not building some boring chatbot that parrots back, I don't understand that command when you misspell something. No, we are building something that can come quite handy in our day-to-day life. So let's go. All right. Now, before we dive into the whole building part, let's just talk a bit about XMTP. So, XMTP stands for Extensible Message Transport Protocol. It's basically a decentralized messaging network where users can actually own their conversation. In fact, XMTP is the largest and actually one of the most secure network of its kind. Now, before your eyes glaze over the word protocol, let me explain why this is actually pretty cool, right? So you just think about every messaging app ever, right? Every messaging app that you have used, it's so the thing is with those apps, those apps are basically holding your conversations hostage. I mean, think about any of them, WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, all of them. They own your message. Those, all those heartfelt conversations, they're logged in their server. That group chat where you planned your friend's surprise party, it's property of one of those messaging companies, like, messaging application companies. You can't export them, you can't move them to another platform. And if the company decides they don't like you, those chats are gone. And we all just accept it because we don't know. I mean, we didn't know that there was another way. So XMTP comes in and says, hold up. What if people can actually own their messages? Wild idea, right? I mean, I know. But that's exactly what they're doing. So instead of your chats being logged up in some company's server or traded away for ad targeting, XMTP basically says, let's just do things differently, right? So what they do is every message is basically encrypted and stored on a decentralized network and linked to your wallet address. I mean, not your phone number, not your email, not your sign in with Google account. It is directly linked to your wallet address. That means no more giving away personal information just to talk to someone. No more annoying verification codes or password resets. No more apps begging for your contacts like it's a hostage situation. It's private, it's secure, and it's interoperable. Which is where things actually get pretty interesting. Like, see, when you I mean, like I said, XMTP is not just an application, it's basically a protocol, meaning it's a shared messaging layer which is used by multiple applications. So when they say that it's one of the largest and the most secure decentralized messaging network, they mean it's a network that connects all these applications together. I mean, imagine this. You send a message from one app and the recipient reads it in another. It's like you DMing someone in Instagram and it's showing up on Twitter, or your Slack messages syncing with Discord. It might be chaos, but it's the good kind of chaos, right? Not the companies and control kind. And here's where it gets more exciting for you as a builder on base. See, with XMTP you can integrate real-time messaging straight into your dapps. No servers to manage, no DevOps nightmares, no custom backend just to keep the chats alive. Users simply connect their wallet and that's it. They can message any other wallet on the XMTP network. Want a marketplace where buyers and sellers can negotiate directly? Easy. A DAO where members can actually coordinate without, yet another Discord meltdown? Done. A social app where users talk to each other without you playing the middleman? Finally, it's happening. So XMTP gives your application a voice. I mean, literally gives your application a voice, and it does it in a way that actually respects users' privacy and ownership. Okay, so now here's where things get a lot more cooler because today we're also looking at the Coinbase Agent Kit. Now, I already have the doc in the screen. So, this whole Coinbase Agent Kit is basically an SDK that lets developers build AI agents that can actually interact with the blockchain. Like for real, like we are talking about bots that can send transactions, manage wallets, and even execute smart contracts or smart contract operations or autonomously, right? Just play that back again and listen to it slowly. Because this isn't your typical chatbot that says nice things and forgets about them 5 minutes. I mean, it's not even, 5 minutes later. And it's not even a glorified FAQ with a personality. This is a bot that can act, a bot that can actually do things on chain. Imagine an AI agent that can swap tokens or send base or manage your subscriptions, all while being completely safe, completely automatic, and under your control. So AgentKit is basically designed to plug right into base applications and other networks, and it gives your agent the power to perform operations as easily as they would send a message, right? So instead of just telling you what your balance is, your agent could literally move that balance somewhere else with permission, obviously. I mean, we're not building Skynet or anything like that. So, I mean, picture this like a portfolio watcher that monitors your assets and pings when find when it finds something interesting, or a payment agent that handles recurring transactions, like no more forget to renew stuff, or even a trading assistant you can text like swap 50 USD for base and it just does it. That's what AgentKit unlocks, the next evolution of how we interact with crypto. It's where blockchain actually stops feeling like you are running some mission control for Starship Enterprise, and start feeling like you're just texting a really capable crypto friend, one who has direct access and secure access to your crypto financials. All right. So we are talking about combining these two really, really powerful tools, right? I mean, you got XMTP for messaging and AgentKit for blockchain operations. So you put them together and you get conversational agents that don't just talk; they can actually do stuff. I mean, picture this very real scenario. You're on a trip with your friends, right? And you know how this goes. Someone pays for the hotel, someone else grabs dinner, third person covers Uber, and by day three, nobody knows who owns what anymore, and someone's keeping track of all this in their note application with increasingly desperate calculations. And by the end of the trip, there is always that one person who has to play the accountant and send out awkward Venmo requests, and someone always forgets to pay for 3 weeks. Like, this is a very normal and typical scenario. Now imagine this instead, like you just chat, you just text, you have your agent up and running in your chat, in your base app, and you just text your agent, hey, I paid 200 USDC for the hotel. Agent logs it instantly, and you're like, Sneha bought dinner for 80 USDC. The agent logs it again. Mike covered the rental car, 150 USDC, done. And by the end of the trip, you just split everything, and the agent calculates who owns what down to the cent, and can even execute transfers if everyone's connected. No spreadsheets, no mental math, no friendship ruined over who paid for breakfast on Tuesday, right? So that's what we are building today. I mean, in order to explain XMTP and the whole agent kit, we are building a trip expense manager you can have an actual conversation with, and it handles all the boring blockchain stuff in the background while you are just living your life. right? So to do that, let me just break this down into three pieces that will make all this come together, right? First, you are integrating XMTP into your base application. Like this is the foundation, like setting up the messaging protocol, authenticating users with their wallet signature, and building a chat interface. I mean, you'll be using the pre-existing base interface, but yeah, nothing fancy yet, just getting the communication pipes connected so wallets can actually talk to each other, right? So second, you're building your first AgentKit agent, and it's going to be the expense manager. Like you will teach you to understand commands, like whatever commands that you want, like add expense, show total, split the bill, so that it needs to track who paid for what, calculate splits fairly, and eventually trigger the actual payment transactions, right? So you're basically building an accountant that lives in your chat and that never takes lunch breaks, or doesn't charge 200 bucks an hour. Third, you're basically connecting these pieces together. Like your agent will listen for messages coming through XMTP, parse what the users are saying, figure out what blockchain operations needs to be done, executes them, and responds back through the same chat. Like got it, log 200 USDC, got it, sent Sneha 50 USDC, whatever, right? So that's how this whole thing is going to work. Like you don't need a fancy UI, you just need to chat. And the beautiful part is, once you understand this pattern, like message comes in, agent thinks about it, agent does blockchain stuff, agent responds, you can basically build agents for literally anything. Like expense tracking today, automated portfolio rebalancing tomorrow, and agents that buys you coffee every morning, maybe next week. The possibilities are basically endless and kind of absurd. Like, I mean, look, like we spent the previous 6 days, 7 days building serious financial infrastructure, like smart accounts, paymaster, spend permission, on-chain kit, all that technical foundation that makes blockchain usable. But here's the truth bomb: most people don't want to understand how any of this works. They don't care. They really don't. They just want their problem solved, and that's fine. I mean, that's actually great. I mean, you have a car, your car has an engine with thousands of moving parts, and you probably couldn't explain how fuel injection works. But you still drive it every day because someone made it simple enough that you just turn a key and go. So conversational agents are how we do that for blockchain. Instead of making users navigate through, menus, clicks through transaction confirmations, read error messages that looks like they've been written by aliens and generally feel like they need a computer science degree to send money, they just talk, split the bill, what's my balance, send 20 USDC to Mike, done. The agent handle all that blockchain complexity. And this is, I mean, I feel like this is genuinely how crypto can go mainstream. Not by teaching everyone about gas optimization and nonce management, not by writing better documentation for your wallet applications, but by making the blockchain completely invisible and the interface so simple that your grandma can use it. Actually, especially yeah, your grandma, because that's like the real test, right? But the thing is, by the end of the day, you'll have a working agent that tracks trip expenses through chat messages and can settle payments on base. You will understand how to combine messaging protocol with blockchain automation, and you'll probably have at least, I don't know, five new ideas for other agents that you might want to build immediately. So, fair warning: building your first conversational agent is kind of addictive, because once you see it working, once you text a command and watch it execute a real blockchain transaction and respond back, you might want to build agents for everything. And I mean literally anything, right? I mean, there is no stopping this train. But I think let's just start with the expense manager. I mean, because it's fairly simple in a way when you look at it, and nothing tests friendship quite like splitting a vacation bill, right? So yeah, let's just go and build it. Let's go. Okay, so we talked quite a bit about building all these fancy applications that can talk to the users, right? Like, using the XMTP and the AgentKit and all those kind of things. So let's just go ahead and see how, it works in code, right? Let's go ahead and try a few stuff and get our, vacation expense tracker application up and running. So yeah, first, I think before we get to the application building part, I'll just give you a quick tour of XMTP. Like if you go to the base docs, there is actually a pretty neat guide on how to set up your, or just play around with the XMTP examples. Like there is a Git repository that has a lot of cool examples, and you can just clone it and just to get just to get a feel of how XMTP works, right? So I'll just do that first. Let me just clone it. Go to the repository, integrated terminal. So again, so the thing is, like this gives you a lot of examples, like a lot of varieties of examples, including something simple as just sending a GM to every message, to all the way up to creating your own Coinbase agents. So you can just go to the examples folder and just see all this, just go through all it, like mini apps, everything, right? So so we'll just test out the GM one so that you guys get a feel of how things work, and then we will build our own agent plus XMTP chatbot. Not exactly a bot, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think we can call it bot. That's fair, but a very intelligent bot. So yeah, let's go. Let's just once you clone the repository, just do the npm install. So this will install all the packages, which I think again this is a full-fledged project. So there is a package.json and it has all these things. It will install. I think it might just take a few minutes, but yeah. But in the meantime, I think we can just go through some of the examples. Like you can see that there is a GM example that we've seen. So this is the file. It's TypeScript. Like don't get confused with the TS. It's TypeScript. Don't worry. It's pretty much similar to JavaScript. A few extra checks here and there. That's it. So yeah, you can see that it has all the SDKs and stuff. Which it imports. It also imports the environment file. And what happens is it just waits for text and it just see if anything, like you can put any condition that you want. And what happens is like this agent, like this basically what it does is it just puts a GM to every message. But you have more complex examples where you have like smart wallets, or what is the Coinbase? Yeah, the Coinbase agent kit, which actually does quite a lot of stuff. Like can use faucet. You can see like a lot of cool stuff you can do with these things. Like maybe request fund from faucet, send it to people. All these kind of stuff. So even for our application, we will have a couple of these really cool features. But the first thing that you have to do actually, is like you need to set up a .env file here, like to make it work. So just go to right click on the folder and just click new file .env. So yeah, in .env, I think we can just go to the example section and you will see all the things that we need. Now, the thing is, our agent, like the XMTP, chat agent, it also requires a wallet, a private key, public key combo to actually work. So the first step that we need to do in order to work with any of these examples is to actually get the wallet key that we can use. So what happens is there is already a script that we can use. Like you don't have to code anything. Like there is a generate script, generate keys.ts. So we can use that to directly get the keys. Like it will do all the things. You can see the generate private key account, all these kind of encryption key. So we need the encryption key and the private key. So yeah, so this script will just install all these things for create all these things for us. So yeah, all we need to do once the npm has finished all the installation, all we have to do is just run the script, and it will get us the keys, and then we just have to place those keys in this file, right? And then we can just go ahead and run this index file in any of these examples. Like we'll just stick with the GM for now, and then we'll build our own stuff. So yeah, let's just wait for the uh, you know npm to finish installing. All right, so now that we have installed all our dependencies, let's just go ahead and write. Run one of our agents. Like we have lots of it in the example section, so we'll just run one of it. Yeah. So the thing is, like before we actually do this, like before we actually go ahead and run one of the agents, we also need to set up its wallet, right? Like I told you that even agents, these are not connected via emails or mobile numbers and stuff. They use wallets, right? So we need to set up the wallets, and the thing is, we have the script that actually does it. Like we don't have to do a lot of coding here. We have the generate key script that generates the keys for our agent, and it will automatically store it to our .env. So we just need to run it. But the thing is, in order to run these scripts, you need to install something. You need to install something called TSX, which is TypeScript execute. So just type in npm I minus g, which is global. You might need it anywhere else. Like global means you can access the package from anywhere, right? Anywhere within the system. So just type it in TSX. So it will be installed, and now you can just go ahead and run it. Now the thing is, if you go to the package.json, yeah. So if you go to the package.json, you can see that there is a gen key command that actually does it, right? Like there is a gen keys command that which basically executes the whole, generate keys.ts file. So let's just install it. Like you can just copy the whole thing from the uh, doc. Wait, yeah, okay. Like you have the base doc from which you can just install this. Yeah, you can see, like, just have to run the keys. It's pretty simple, since there is already a script. You just have to run it. I'll just paste the command. Yeah, npm run gen keys, and it will generate the keys. And like I said, it will check if there is an existing .env file. If it is there, it will just overwrite everything. Like you can see, all the keys and everything is already written, and you can just remove the duplicate fields. Yeah. So yeah, now this is fine. So as I've said, the keys are there, the encryption key, everything is there. So we are all good to go. Now we can just go ahead and run one of these examples. There is even a provision to actually create your own agent. Like you can just run the script, but we are a bit lazy, so we'll just run an already existing one. The thing is, if you go to package.json, you can see that there is a dev command, and it will just go to the sorry, it will just go to the XMTP GM agent, which just sends GM to every one of your messages. So yeah, it will run this index.ts, which is fine. We can just test it out and see how that works. So yeah, so now that we have all the keys and everything, let's just see what happens. Let's just do npm run dev. So yeah, okay, it's running. I mean, setting it up. So this will just go to, you can see, like it will just go to the examples.xmtpgm folder, and it will just run this command, which is, it will run the index.ts. So everything, like I said, every one of them, like the you know access point is basically the index.ts. So it will just run it, and it will connect you, or it will set up your agent. So now the thing is, like you get an address and you get a url. So the like if you have a base app, like if you have access to the beta version of a base app, you can just go to the chat. You can put this version up, and you can actually, like, I'll show you how to do it. Like you have to set the environment here to production and stuff, but you can directly access this agent via this address, or you can preview it using this url. So we'll just copy this url. uh, Let me just get a page. Okay, now if you go to this, so this is the XMTP environment. Like it will preview. Yeah, you can see that, right? So it will ask us, like, I'll just disconnect first. Okay, let me just move to an account with a bit of ETH. I mean, base testnet ETH. Okay, right. So yeah, we'll just connect. You can also connect to Coinbase wallet. Like if you like, maybe for the next example, we'll just go for the Coinbase wallet. Here we'll just stick to MetaMask. So make sure that you have the MetaMask account and everything. So we'll just click and click connect, and yeah, we'll just click on connect. And yeah, so the wallet is connected, which is our wallet, the user. So you're not using your mobile or email or anything, you're using your wallet, right? So let's just go connect, and let's see what happens. So yeah, you can see authenticate to inbox, confirm. And yes, so this is the preview of so we don't have to do any UI here, because it already gives you the preview. So you can just let me just try and do it side by side. Okay, you can see this. Okay, just okay. You can see the terminal. You can see this. Just close this. Okay, and you say, "Hey." Oh wait, what happened? Oh, sorry. Okay. Hey, and you send it, and you can see the yeah, us receiving the message and the address and everything, and it will just replay with the GM, and you can say, "What's up?" Send it, and it will just return a GM. See, that is what it does. Like the agent, it doesn't do anything else. That's basically the XMTP GM agent. Where is it? Like that's all it does, not the GPT one. Sorry, the GM one. Yeah. So index.ts, it just gets the message and it will just show receive the message and it will just put uh, GM. So yeah, so that's basically if it is a group, it has another message which again it will just return GM. The only thing is it will just say received message in group, right? So that's it. So that's the GM agent. So we have set up an agent. So this is how it works, right? Now we can add any kind of fancy stuff on top of it. We can take the message, put it to ChatGPT or Gemini, and ask our agent kit to do a lot of functionalities with it. So that we can do on chain transfers and stuff. But yeah, this is how we can set up a basic agent, right? Like an XMTP chat agent. So let's just go ahead and build something cool with it. So yeah, let's go. All right, now that we saw how we can work with the XMTP agents, let's just add our whole agent kit and try to make a really, really intelligent, AI chat agent that can handle our trip expenses. So I'm going to keep it simple, like I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'll help you understand all the functionalities so that you can just take it forward and build your own stuff. So yeah, I guess let's start, right? So again, we'll start with another folder. Like I'm basically setting it on a separate folder than our XMTP agent example. You can set it inside; it's fine. Like maybe in the examples folder or somewhere. But I'll just create another folder. I'll just call it what? Trip expense agent. Okay, and I'll just go inside it. Okay, so yeah, now I'll make a couple of other directories. So there will be a source where I have to store my configurations. There will be a source where like different services, right? Like you have wallet services, all those kind of things. So all the scripts will be there. And then there will be a folder called scripts for maybe like the key generations and stuff. So yeah, so this is our basic. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, this is our basic stuff. Like you have the source, you have the all these things. Like we'll add things as we go along. It's fine. So yeah, now let's just initialize the whole thing. So npm init. Yeah, so this will initialize it, and let's just go ahead and install a couple of stuff. So, oh, sorry. Let's just go ahead and install a couple of stuff. So I'll explain it. I'll copy the command first and then I'll explain it. Okay, so here you can see that I'm installing the Coinbase agent kit. Why is it? Okay, yeah. The Coinbase agent kit. Then there is something called as LangChain. Now I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but you can just go to the website. So it helps us create it's a framework, it's an open source framework for creating these kind of agents, right? So I think there is the docs, you can just check it out. It's really cool. Like it was one of the first frameworks like this. So it helps you create these agents. It'll help you to understand the tools and stuff, like in a simple way. Just imagine it like this. Like right now, if we are using OpenAI or whatever for our agent, right, it can have conversations, but it can never know which tools to use for doing or carrying out an operation. So LangChain basically helps us provide that framework, right? It helps build those agents, and it helps agents connect with like or LLM applications connect with different applications, and work with it so that you can execute rather than just having a conversation. So if I say move some token from my account to somebody else's account, LangChain basically helps us coordinate all the different tools and stuff that is required. So we need LangChain. So the thing is, Coinbase has an extension, like the AgentKit has a LangChain extension. We'll use that. We'll have the Coinbase SDK, also the LangChain code. Like we'll be using, rather than OpenAI, we'll actually be using Google Gemini, because I believe it has a more generous free tier. So we will use that, and of course, like the XMTP agent, .env for environment variables, and VM for interacting with, in case like we need to interact with RPC nodes, like Ethereum or base nodes. So yeah, let's just go ahead and install it. It might take some time, but yeah. So these are the things. So the idea here is that, like the way that we want this to work is pretty simple. Like you saw how the XMTP agents basically work, right? Like, they can access the messages. So let's say the user sends something like, I spent like zero point 0.1 ETH on, air travel, or air tickets. So the XMTP will receive it. Now we will use our open, in our case it's Gemini. So Gemini to understand what it means, and we will then use all these different LangChain and stuff to figure out which tools to use to actually track the expense. And yeah, the AI will basically respond with, okay, I got it, right? So that is the general overview of how things are going to work. Like, we have different tools that we have to build, like for storing and even for like wallet operations and stuff. So we will build all that and see how we can use it. And okay, so the thing is, you can like with this project, like you can add a lot of stuff to it. Like you can add databases for keeping track of expenses. You can go all in, like be as creative as you want. But since you're learning the foundations or the functionalities, I'll keep it simple. So even for the expense tracking, I will build a local tool, maybe a JSON file where you can track it. But the AI can basically use it to understand the context and help us track the whole thing. But like I said, you can maybe set it up on Superbase, or any of those platforms, like that provides you a much better database service, like a Mongo or a SQL or whatever. You can use all that, but I mean, the procedure is basically the same. You just create a script and you just attach it, or you just make your agent aware about that script and about the tool. That's it, and the agent can basically use that to store information. But like, I'll keep it simple so that we can understand how everything works, and then you can just expand it as much as you like, right? So we will also be focusing on like certain core functionalities, rather than just going for everything all at once. So for that, like, let's just since npm is installing all these packages, let's just go ahead and create a .env file. Now, in this .env file, we need a couple of stuff. Like, we'll start with a couple of obvious ones, which is all right. So once we have the .env, let's just go ahead and get started with all the environment variables that we need. So the first one, like I said, we have to set up the Gemini key. So I'll just provide the variable here, Gemini API key. So for that, what you have to do is you just have to go to Google AI Studio, Google AI Studio, make an account there. Like I said, Gemini has a very generous free time. So just go to get API key, maybe create a new one. I'll just say expense agent. You can create a new project. Oh, trip expense project. Create a project. And yeah, so okay. So you can see that we'll just copy it and paste it. Maybe I'll just paste it right now. Again, don't worry, I'll just delete the whole thing after this. So yeah, now we need a couple of things from our like CDP, which is like the development platform. So we need the API ID, like we need to create a secret API ID, the wallet secret, and of course we need the private key, right? So for that, yeah, go to the Coinbase developer platform. You can just open the portal. Like we need to use a couple of stuff. Like we need the server wallet thing, right? Like you can have the accounts and stuff. Like when you click on generate new secret, it will set up the whole thing for you. So yeah, so that is one thing that we need. And yeah, so we need like if you click on generate new wallet, like it will just authorize the creation of new wallets, which requires authentication from your mobile. So once you have that, just give me a second. Okay. You can just say, wait, delete. Yeah, I mean, it's deleting the previous one, I believe. Yeah. Again, I will completely remove this. Don't worry. So this is the wallet secret. We need this. We copy this. So we'll just store it as yeah, CTP wallet secret, and we'll use that. It's a pretty long one, so yeah. Then we need the ID, like the API. So this is the wallet secret. Now we also need the API key name and the API private key. So for that, just go to the dashboard, API keys, secret key, create a key. I'll just call it trip expense agent. Just create it. There you can see that, right? So this is basically going to be our private key, and this is going to be the ID. So let's just copy this. So yeah, I mean this is the name, and this is going to be the private key. So we'll just go to our env file. We'll just say cdp API key name equals. Okay, this is going to be a name. Okay, cdp key. We'll just call it, yeah, private key equals. Okay, and you just paste it here. Okay, so yeah, so we have all the things. We can also provide the network ID. Network, just say, just so yeah, ID equals space Sepolia. Okay, so yeah, so we have all these things now, and we also have our uh, I think packages installed. So let's just go ahead and create the scripts. We will start with you know the basic script for setting up our keys for the agent. So let me just create a new file. I'll just call it generate keys.js and okay. So I'll just say import so from crypto. Now, crypto is actually an inbuilt package. You don't have to install anything, and from there you can just say random bytes. Then we need VM account. So import uh, from VM slash accounts. So from this we need private key to account. Yeah. So we can just first console.log generating XMTP. This is the same kind of script that we had last time. Keys, we'll just put a slash in. Okay, and now we'll just create so const private key equals. So we'll just format it a bit. We'll just say ox and random bytes. Okay, uh, 32 dot string, which has to be hex, and we'll just say const account equals private key to account private key. Okay, so let's see what this does, right? And yeah, we also need to create const encryption key. So for that, we'll just say random bytes 32 dot to string. Like you can use the method that we use in the examples also, like the XMTP message examples. But once we have all this, we can just you know do a bit of console logging so that we can see everything key generated. Just so we have some boundaries. Okay, I'll just add these. Okay, and encryption and account address. Okay, so yeah, so now let's just go ahead and see if this works. I mean, it's pretty basic, like nothing fancy about it. We just created this. Oh, before that, I think we need one more thing. So yeah, so go to package.json and make sure that the type is set as module, right? Okay. So once we have that, we can just go. Maybe even we can even go and create a package.json script. Yeah, just like how we did with like our previous one. We'll just say gen, sorry, gen keys. We can say okay, gen keys will be node script slash generate keys, right? .js. Okay, let's see if it works. So let's just go and type npm run gen keys. Ah, there you go. So we have our wallet key, and we have our, you know, uh, encryption. So we'll just copy this. We'll just go to our .env and we'll say XMTP wallet key. It's going to be this, and XMTP encryption key. It's going to be the other one. Oh, sorry. Yes. It's going to be the other one. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Right. So yeah, so we have all the stuff, like all the, and also we need to set the environment. So XMTP env. We need to specify if it's dev or production or local. We just put dev. Okay, so we have all the stuff like .env stuff set up. So yeah, I mean now I guess we can just go ahead and start building the rest of the scripts, which includes like our services and everything, like configurations. Okay, right. I think we'll just start with the configuration because we have created the .env, so we need the configuration file to just get all these things from our .env. So I'll just create a new file. I'll just call it en- environment.js. Oh, did I misspell it? env IRO. Yeah, okay. Okay. So yeah, so this is going to be pretty simple. We'll just go dot env from dot env. Then we'll, I don't know why it's not working. Import. So we need a couple of stuff from the URL. I mean the package URL. Okay, which include file URL to path. Yeah, and last we need import a couple of stuff from path. So this includes the directory name. I believe we need to get the directory name, and of course we might need to join a few parts. So, yeah. So const, let's just get the file names right. File name is going to be, yeah, file path to you, file URL to path, and we can just put import meta dot URL. Okay, yeah, right. So then we'll just say const directory name, const directory name equal to directory name and the file, right? Okay, so once we have that, we can just say dot env dot configure and just say path, just say join directory name, and yeah, so that we have the absolute uh, you know, path to the whole thing. So yeah, so yeah, so there we have it, and we can do a bit of uh, right. So for the agent kit, I'll just copy the whole thing. Like we need a couple of stuff. We'll just set it as it is. So we'll just okay. So this is the CDP environment variable. So we'll just see if there is the key name, and we can directly put it as key ID. Like we're just setting it up like the private key as the key secret and the key ID. That's it. So next we can add a validate function, which will be like I'll just show you because these are general utility functions. You can directly do it. So in case you want to do it, like you can do it. Like so, it's basically a validation environment function which I'm going to use to validate if we have everything, just so we don't run in blind. So we need all these things like encryption key. It's all everything that we have given here. Oh wait, it's DB encryption. Okay. Yeah. So all the encryption keys and stuff, and we will just check if everything is in place, like everything is proper. Like we make sure that all these keys are there. If there is anything missing, we'll just throw the error. It will just say, okay, there are these missing keys, so make sure that you have all these keys. So for example, I'll just run it just to see if we have any spelling errors. So we'll just say node, what is his name, slash src slash config slash environment. Oh, wallet key. Okay. Let me just put the same name there. Okay. Okay. Just copy this. I don't think there is any typos. Just okay. Okay. So was it a okay? Right. I guess everything is fine. So yeah, like maybe some typos or something like that. So yeah, we have all the stuff there, like all the keys and everything is validated. So we'll just put it like this, And the next part is we will just add a configuration, meaning everything, like everything we'll just configure from this whole thing so that we can use it throughout the, like every time we don't want to load the .env in every single file, we'll just put it as a configuration file here, like this. So you can see that for XMTP you have the wallet key, the data encryption key, the environment. So these are the things for XMTP. You have the CDP, like the app name, private key, the environment ID, which is Polia. We've already given it in the whole thing, like RPC URL. The thing is, there is a default RPC URL. If you want to use your own, you can give it. Just put it as an environment variable if you want. Uh, yeah, you can just put it as a environment variable here. Else it's fine. And Gemini. So Gemini, this is going to be the API key, and the model that we are going to be using is 2.5 Flash. So yeah, so this is basically it for the you know environment. So we'll just export default config. So yeah, so we'll run. So whenever somebody calls it, they will just validate everything first and then export the config, which we can use. Okay, right. So now that that is done, I guess we can go to our services, I believe. Yeah, let's just go to our services so that we can start with our agent. I think we can just start with our agent service first. Just give me a second. Yeah, I guess we can just go with our. Okay, so just like last time, what we're going to do is we're going to have all the services and everything set, and our index.js will be basically the root file or the main file, right? So we can set up different services for everything, like wallet, XMTP agent, AI agent, all those things. And yeah, like I said, uh, you know we can just use the AI agent service to, or whatever services in our index file, and just bring it all together. So yeah, let's just go ahead and build our services. All right, so now that we have our configuration all set, let's just go ahead and start with our, services. So the first service, like since our whole application is about tracking the trip expenses, that is going to be our first, service. Let's just go ahead and set up the, I'll just call it the expense manager maybe. So the thing is, we need a way to track the expenses, right? So I'll just say expense manager.js. Now the thing is, you can make it as complex as you want. Like so for this expense manager, the idea is we need a service that can actually store the expenses somewhere, so that we can just keep track of it. So this right here can be as complex as you want. You can create databases, you can store it on cloud wherever you want. So for me, I think it's better like if we start small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically set up the whole thing using a JavaScript file, a JSON file, a local JSON file, and like we will just see so that everybody can try it out. Like you don't need expertise in Java, like MongoDB or anything to get started. So I'll just do some basic imports. Like I have the file system import, the path, the URL, everything that we did in our environment. Plus, I guess like only the file system is the addition. And just like last time, we'll set up the file name and the directory and everything. So yeah, so those are the basic stuff that we need. So within this, what we're going to do is we are going to create a class that will handle all the expense, meaning that basically helps us store the expense in a JSON file. Okay, so that's it. So I'll just say export class expense manager, and within that I'll just put in a constructor, right? So this is the class and this is the constructor. So I'll just put a new map. So this dot expense, so map, like the same structure as a JSON, like it has a key value pair. So you can just store, let's say for every conversation, suppose there is expense. So we can basically do that, right? So I'll just show you how this works, but let me just uh, you know initialize it first. Oh, sorry, new map. Okay, it's basically a mapping. Like you can just go through it. You can see, yeah. it just maps stuff. Yeah, and we can say so these are all the local, I mean the class objects. So we'll just say data file. It's going to be path dot join and directory name, and of course I think we can go ahead and put it maybe outside source, maybe like a data directory. I'll just create it. I'll just say data so that we know where it is, right? So it's going to be slash data slash expense dot JSON. So it's a basic JSON file. You can again, you can actually create whatever that you want, Mongo or whatever. So yeah, so let's just go ahead and create a function called load expenses, which does exactly as it sounds like. So it basically sets up the whole thing, right? Like gets the JSON, all those things, and basically make sure that our JSON file is ready to store the expenses. So we'll just say const data directory is basically, so yeah, path dot directory name. So here the idea is if the file doesn't exist, we have to create the file. So that's basically what it is doing. Okay. So yeah, so it's like if fs dot sorry fs dot mkdir sync, we'll use sync data directory. So if it doesn't exist, let's just go ahead and create one. Fs dot mkdir sync, let's just create it and be like, okay, data directory is what we want, and we'll just put the recursive flag. Yeah, right. So recursive, as you know, like it, like if we, since we are like we have given it like this, so we'll just check if even data is created, like so this data folder is created. So if recursive is set as true, we will just create all the parent folders and everything, right? So we'll just put it as true, and we don't have to since we have already created, but yeah, good practice. And then once we have that, we'll just load the file, right? So if, so we'll just check fs dot exist sync this dot data file. Now we are checking if the file exists. If it does, const data, sorry, data equals fs dot read file sync this dot data, okay, data file, and we'll just say UTF-8. Yeah, pretty standard. Oh wait, yeah. Okay, counts. So since it's JSON, we need to pass it. We'll just say passed equals JSON dot parse and data, and of course this dot expenses equals the map. We'll just put the object dot entries and the parsed, of course. So it just gets us the whole mapping, right? So we'll just say console.log loaded expenses from local storage, right? Since we are using the JSON within, like again, you can do, you can go all fancy those use there. I'm just keeping it simple so that everybody can just try it out. The data storage is up to you. So I think we can also put, since there are a lot of back and forth, we can put it in a try block, right? So just put it in a try block. Try this. I mean, it can go wrong, so just try and catch a few errors. And you can say error, and you can just say console.log error. We can just say failed to load data expenses, and we can just put in Error dot message, right? Oh, wow. Error dot message, and yeah, so the expense will be an empty map. So just say new map. Yeah. Okay. So no expense is there. Right. So we have the load expense function. So what next? Once we have that, I guess we can create one. So once we load it, next we can also create one for saving. So save expenses. Okay, we'll just again put it in a try const data. So whenever we get a new expense, we'll just save it to that file. Or whenever we are updating the expense object, like the map, we'll just update it to the file. So we'll just say object dot from entries. So get all the entries from this expense thing. Expenses, we'll just write it. Write sync. Yes, please. Just write it this dot data file. Okay. Yeah, JSON dot stringify. So we're going to write the data, which is going to be null and two, and yeah, and encryption is obviously UTF-8. So yeah, I mean, this is how we write it. So we can even catch a few errors. Oh, not catch. And we'll just say errors. Okay. And as always, console dot can maybe console it as an error itself. Okay, error. We'll just say failed to save expense, which is sad. So yeah, I will say error dot message. Okay, so yeah, save expense. Okay, we have load and save. What else? Okay, so next is obviously add. I think, wait, in the constructor, we have to add this load expense, right? Like when we are creating an object, I think the first step is actually to set up this whole thing. I mean, we need to load this. So let's say this dot load expense. There you go. So this basically sets up everything when we are creating an expense manager object so that we don't have to create any files or anything. Everything is properly created. So yeah, let's just go ahead and save and oh sorry, I mean add expense, right? So I'll just say add expenses, and so we'll just say if so yeah. So, I mean, with add expense, what we are going to say is every conversation, like I said, every conversation will have some sort of an expense. So it will just check the conversation ID and set the expense like based on the conversation ID, the amount, the description, and who paid it, right? So every conversation will just check for the conversations that has this expenses. It will take the conversation ID, it will take the amount, it will take the description, and it will just take who paid for it, right? So yeah, let's just go and see. So I'll just say conversation ID, amount, sorry, description, paid by, and we'll just put user, I mean, as a default, right? So if we'll just say if this dot expenses dot. So what we are checking is if we already have a conversation ID, right? Like if our expenses object already has a conversation ID, I mean it doesn't have that conversation ID, then I mean yeah, the negation of it, right? So if it doesn't have that conversation ID, just set it. Expenses dot set conversation ID, and we'll just say okay. So this means that we'll check if we have this conversation ID. If we don't, we'll just set a new one, right? Like we'll just set a new list as the against this conversation ID in our expenses map, right? So that is one thing. Then we'll just create the object expense object, expense equals, sorry, yeah, so the expense will be, first thing is ID, I mean not the conversation ID, but since conversation ID is already the uh, you know the key, we'll just maybe put the date or something. We'll just say date dot now. So it gets us a pretty nuanced date. We'll just say string. Okay. Then we'll just say amount of economics. Amount, which will also be, we'll just float it. Oh, sorry. Amount. Oh, wait. Okay. Wait. See, this is why naming is pretty important, because otherwise you get these issues. Okay, so this will be conversation ID because it cannot distinguish between a parameter and a keyword. Oh, what is this? Okay, so amount equals this amount. Now we understand what's what. So yeah, so that is done. What else? Then we'll just say description is going to be description. Oh wait, okay, and of course paid by will be paid by, and we can also put a timestamp, which is going to be new date dot to ISR string. Okay. So yeah, so we have the expense object. So this will go against the conversational ID in our expenses mapping. So we'll just say this dot expenses dot get get the conversation ID thing. Oh, sorry. And to that we need to push this object, which is expense, right? So it's pretty simple. I mean, pretty simple logic, and we can just say this dot save expense, right? Because we want to save it and return. If you want the expense, you can just return it. So there you go. So there is a way to actually add the expense. So what else? What else do we need? We can have, yeah, we can, based on the conversational ID, get expense maybe. Get expense conversation ID, and we can be like, okay, return this dot expenses dot get, and yeah, the conversation ID. And or you can just return null. If that is not there, we can just say an empty list, right? Yeah. What else? Get total maybe. Again, conversation ID, and const expenses equals this dot get. So if we are looking at a particular conversation and if we want to get the total, of that conversation based on the conversational ID, the total amount, we'll just say expense and we'll just return expenses dot reduce. So it's a map, so we can just put in a reduce function sum. So it will just put the sum of the object. Like I'll show you how this works. So it goes like this. Okay, like you can just check the reduce thing. Like, so what it does is like it will take all the objects, it will take the amount, and it will just sum like the initial amount, and it will just keep on adding the whole thing, right? So set the initial value as zero, and as the amount comes in for the conversation ID, it will just keep on adding it and returns the final output, right? That is the whole thing. Basic add, you can do a for loop, it's fine. I mean, this might look a bit complex, but yeah, I don't like to write a lot of codes. Then okay, so we have add, save. What else? Then we can have split. I think we can have a basic split thing, right? So we'll just say split. We can say conversation ID. We can say number of people, and we can basically split. We'll say const total equals this dot get total, right? We can have a total of for the conversation ID, and we can say const per person. So how much? I mean, there can be like a lot more complex stuff to it, based on different shares and everything. You can add that logic. I'm just doing a basic split. Return total. Okay, we'll just say total equals total dot to fix. It's going to be six num people per person. Say per person. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you can directly put it. I mean, why did I do that? So yeah, per person dot, since we have to fixed. Yeah, we set the fractions too. So yeah. So then what else do we have? We can also have clear maybe, so that all the expenses are cleared of a conversation. We just say conversation ID. This dot expenses dot delete, I believe. Yeah, delete. Yeah, conversation. Okay, this dot save expense. So whenever we save expense, it gets overwritten, right? So it's fine. What else? So I think we have everything, right? Or we could also have a basic formatting for our expense. Just say format expense, which is like okay, conversation ID will be like const expenses equals this dot get expenses, and just get the conversational ID so that we get the expense of that conversation. We'll just say const total equals this dot get total and conversation ID. Okay. If expenses dot length, I mean, we just have to check if there are any expenses. So expenses dot length equals zero. We'll just say return no expenses tracked. Right? I mean, if it's zero, that means we don't have any expense. Else, what? Let output be. We can just say expenses uh, total. Oh, sorry, to fixed. We can just put six and eat maybe. Yeah, eat. a base heat, whatever, right? I mean, slash and. Um, okay, so yeah, we get a formatted output, so we can just say expenses dot for each. We'll just put expenses and an index, and we'll just say okay here. So the output plus equals. So based on each of the expenses, we can give things. We can just say idx index plus one dot. We can even put the description expenses dot. I think it's direct description, right? Yeah. Okay. Description. What else? Gives expenses dot amount. So again, it's basic stuff. Eat, and we can just say eat, which is which can be like yeah, we can add paid by maybe. Yeah, paid by paid by. Yeah, just put a slash in. There you go. So yeah, so that is there. Okay, and we can just say return output. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to add a lot of other functionalities. We'll just, I mean, if we want, we can just keep on writing a lot of it, but I'll just keep it minimum, default, and expense manager. Okay. So yeah, so we have the expense manager right now. Now, what we can do is we can also go ahead and create, since we have an expense manager, let's just go ahead and try and create tool that uses like I'll show you how to use it. So sorry, right? So right now we have the expense things like all the class and everything set up. Now I'll show you how we can make how we can you know basically let our lang chain know that okay, we have this thing, you can use any of these things to actually work with, right? We have all these tools for adding and saving and everything. So we'll just create tools, and I'll show you how to add everything into LangChain so that it knows what things to work with. So if somebody says split, it knows okay, it means to use the split function from this class. So I'll just create a new tool. I'll just call it expense tool.js, right? So yeah, tools.js. So this is going to be how we are going to connect everything, right? So we'll just say import. We'll write all the other services after this, okay? And it's going to be a small stuff, but yeah. From what is it? LangChain core, I believe, and we need the tools. Yes, there you go. So from this, we need to import something called dynamic structure tool, right? And also we need something from Zod. Oh, did we install Zod? Wait, let me just check if we've installed Zod. Um, oh, have we installed? I thought we did install Zod. Let me just check if the package is already there. Give me a second. Uh, okay, it's there. It's there. Okay, so the package is already there. Okay, yeah, it's there, so it's fine. So yeah, just 1 second. Okay. Right. So we have the Zod thing. Like I'll show you how to or why we use Zod, but it's pretty fun. It's like setting the scheme and stuff. Pretty simple stuff. But yeah, I'll show you. So let's just go ahead and you know uh, understand what we're trying to do. Okay, so the thing is, so we have all these functions in the expense manager, right? So this script, what it does is it will convert those functions into tools that LangChain can use, right? So it will convert into LangChain tools that the AI can use, right? So a tool like from in LangChain terminology, a tool is basically a function that the AI can call, right? So when we are defining a tool, we say the name, we say the description, we put the schema of like the parameter schema and the function, like the actual function to use, right? So if the user is like, I want to spend 2 ETH on a flight, the AI reads the tool descriptions, it will check through all these tools that we are going to set up, and it might just reason and think that okay, so now the add expense tool matches this request, right? Like if I send a conversation that I've spent to ETH, it will be like, okay, this is an expense and I need to add it. So it will just read through all the different tool descriptions and check for the tool with the most matching description, and it will just extract all the parameters that is required, and it will just call the function, right? So that's how you match. So LangChain gives you that framework to match both these things, right? So AI, it won't just be conversing, it also has the tools to act upon whatever that you are giving, right? So we'll just create the tool. Let me just go ahead. So we'll just create something called export function create expense tools, and so we'll put a expense manager class there. Okay, like this. Okay, the expense manager class object there and the conversation ID. Yeah, we can put no issues. Okay. So yeah, so these are the two things that we're going to need. So based on this, we are going to create tools, and from these tools, we are going to say, okay, this is what we are going to do. So for example, I'll add one tool. So that is okay. I'm just going to say, okay, the first tool is going to add an expense. So we'll just create a tool, add expense tool, right? And it's going to be new dynamic structure tool, right? And we're going to say, okay, so this is the tool that we need, and the name of the tool is going to be uh, add, sorry, add expense, right? And then we need to provide the description of it. So description is going to be something like uh, add a new expense to track, and we can say use this when user mentions spent, right? So I mean we are basically like sorry, not spend, I mean spending money or adding an expense, right? So this is the description. So once the AI gets a conversation, it will just analyze it, understand its context, and go through these tools to see which is the one that suits it, right? So yeah, now we can put the schema, right? We can say schema. Now for the schema, that's where we will use the z dot object, and it just provides us with the schema. We'll just say okay, so now we can add the parameters and everything. So we'll just like amount. So z dot number is going to be a number. So this means that there is going to be an amount thing, and it's going to be of type number, and we are going to describe it like we just have to put like the amount in each. Okay, so that is the first object in our schema. I mean the first field in our schema. Then we are going to say description. right? So okay, so we have the amount, now we need the description. So we are going to say z dot so this matches, like the name here matches the names in our in our expense manager. We have the expense object, right? Where was it? Yeah, amount, description, and paid by. So we're going to say description is going to be a string, and it's going to describe dot, oh, sorry, dot describe. What is it going to describe? Okay, description. We can just say description of an expense, right? We'll just say example flight, dinner, etc. Right? etc. Okay. So what else? And of course, paid by. It's also going to be z dot string, and we might just keep it optional because yeah, we already have a default. We just say describe. We're going to describe who paid for this, who paid for the expense, and I think yeah, I thought so. So yeah, so this is how you sorry set up a tool. Like you have a new tool, you just have to give the schema like the name, the description, and of course like you have the name, the description, then you have the schema which has the amount, the description of the whole thing, and paid by. Right. So now let's just go ahead and create a function that needs to be called. Right. So this goes right after the name, description. These are fields. So we'll just say function, and it's going to be a sync. Right. So yeah, it's going to be amount, description, or we'll just put like this amount descrip- description and what paid by. Yeah, we can put like user since we also have to call it, so it's fine. So yeah, now let's just go ahead and call the function or create the function. It will just be like try const expense equals. Then we can go ahead and call the expense manager, right? Expense manager dot sorry, I mean dot. So add expense, I believe, add expense, and we can put all the things, conversation ID, right? What else? The amount, the description, and the paid by. So yeah, so all this will go into the function, and so that in our expense manager we have already called this function. I mean, we have this function with all these things. So yeah, we are just calling that function, and sorry, I like tried float or something. But yeah, we can just call this. We can console.log it. We can just return something. We return maybe like expense added, and you can be like expense, or you can you know try different stuff. It's fine. It can be like, oh sorry, put the catch error and return. You can just say return failed to add expense and error dot message. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you describe a tool. I'll quickly add a couple of more tools. Like for example, we can have something similar. Like since we have the list expense, I'll show you. So this is the add expense tool. So yeah, so list expense is pretty much the same thing. Dynamic tool, list expense, get list of all the tracked. And it doesn't have any schema, like it's not expecting any parameters or anything, so it doesn't have any schema. And the function is, it basically gets all the expense based on the conversation ID. And yeah so if length is zero, else get the conversation ID, get the whole thing. And you can even format it a bit, like based on how we formatted it last time, right? For each expense, get the index and stuff, and return the output. That's it. So that is one tool. Another tool. A third one, just like since we have the split one, we'll just create a split tool. So we'll just go ahead and I'll show you, since I've already created a couple of these things, because writing the schema takes a long time. So I thought it would be much easier this way. Sorry, what? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay. The split expense tool, again, very similar stuff. Um, you know you're basically split expense calculate split. We need the number of people, and it just returns the split, like based on the conversation ID. It will just return the split. That's it. So what else? Okay, so this is another one. Next, we'll just create maybe the clear expense tool. Yeah, I mean, if we want to clear all the expenses once the trip ends, we'll just say clear expense, same stuff, all cleared, all based on the functions that we use in our expense manager. Oh, wait. Oh, I think I made a mistake here. So, wait. The conversation ID should be conversation ID. Oh, I'm so sorry. So, yeah, I mean, make sure that you have. No? Yeah, okay. Conversation ID. So yeah, the conversation IDs are also there. Conversation IDs, anything else? Let me just check if there are any other expense managers. Okay, and conversation IDs. ID. Okay, okay. Yeah, so yes, so we have all the tools now. What we can do is we can just return all these things, so that when this function is called, it knows like these are all the tools. So we'll just say return, add expense tool. What else? Listen expense tool, clear. No, for that we'll just go split expense and clear expense. So these are the things that we will. These are the functionalities. Again, you guys can go all in on this and create whatever that you want. No issues. Export default, create expense tools. Okay, so yeah, so now we have the expense manager, and we have the tools where we can add and split and do all those kind of things. So those are the major stuff, right? We have a way to manage the expense, and a way for our AI to use different tools to actually handle the expense. So yeah, now let's just create our wallet, our AI agent, and the XMTP thing, right? So yeah, let's go.